Well, welcome again to the adventures in putting this guitar together. It has definitely been an interesting experience, to say the least. One of which, pretty much as near as we can figure, and I actually had sent a email to the company that made the kit for this particular guitar. Basically it seems that whatever was involved, something's not quite right with the electronics. So, that being said, we get to sit here and take this whole kit and caboodle all back apart again and see what we can do with it. They pretty much fret wire sent me replacements. So I actually have a replacement set of pickups as well as jack for this guitar. I definitely recommend them, especially on the strength of what they've done as far as customer service goes. I would definitely say they would be a great company if you're looking to do a guitar kit of any kind. I would definitely go with these guys because they pretty much, I sat there, tried around, messed around with a few things, and realized this wasn't going to work. And they pretty much sent me a note saying, okay, well, I guess it's not working, and we're gonna send you the replacement for everything. So what they did is they pretty much got everything together, and I got the replacement this week. Didn't have a chance to do anything with it because of just work, being that I am actually in the retail job that I have is actually considered an essential business. So unlike many people, I've actually have been working. So that's been kind of an interesting bit as well. So I'm pretty much, what I'm going to do is take this guy off, get him ready to send back, and basically get everything prepped up and sent back to Fretwire. They actually, as I said, they sent me, I contacted them on a Saturday night. It was probably about 8 o'clock at night or something like that, Eastern time, for those of y'all who aren't in this immediate area. And they got back to me very, 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 very quickly. I pretty much sent them my thing, and gentleman or person on the other end, I can't really specify gender because you can never tell, sent me a response within like 20 minutes. I was like, oh my god, this is majorly impressive. Because generally whenever you contact somebody, you usually don't get a response back that quickly, especially on a weekend. So, as I said, I'm really impressed with these guys, because in all honesty, it definitely, when you talk about customer service, you definitely want to see something that goes above and beyond expectations. Well, one of the things that I do have to do, because we've gone through all this fun stuff, is I actually have to go through and basically desolder everything, because everything's been soldered in. So pretty much I've got all sorts of fun bits to play around with, and hot and nasty things. So right now what I'm doing is desoldering the whole kit and caboodle off of here so that we can take everything apart. So that's been desoldered. Because you got the wire, the ground wire, which actually goes through this hole in the bottom of the into the back of the guitar. Now I detuned everything, left the strings on in the hopes that I can actually remove this, but might have to pull the strings the rest of the way off. Just trying to get everybody loosened up to the point where I can just lift it up. Have enough clearance on here. So it's going to be kind of an interesting bit. I actually did share some pictures on Facebook of, I actually went into my studio, my photography studio, and actually went through and photographed this whole thing, which cosmetically, I personally really like how this guitar came out. I think from a visual standpoint, it looks really, really good. However, I would like it to be a playable guitar. As far as all this stuff goes, let's see if we can get everybody to clear out. Nope. Nobody wants to play with me today. So, but it's definitely kind of a nice, it's a nice project to do when you're kind of not sure what you're going to be doing, or if it's a little slow at work, or if you unfortunately aren't able to work. I mean, that can make a bit of a difference too. Because when I ordered this, it was before everything started. I actually ordered this guy probably right before everything really got kind of crazy. So I wasn't really 100%. And then when it came in, I'm going, oh, am I going to have time to actually do anything with this guy? Because I wound up having to actually work. So it's kind of been, to say the least, a bit of an interesting experience. Pretty much, gotta say, as I said, the only real complaints that I had with this, and it may have just been with the supplier and everything, is that they didn't include the bolts for the jack. So the jack actually did not have the bolts with it. So that made for things to be a bit on the awkward side. Now, again, as I mentioned, this is kind of the desoldering on here, one thing I gotta admit, I have learned more about soldering stuff by doing this guitar than I ever thought I would ever need. Pretty much it's kind of like, there we go. So now you guys should actually start being able to be fed through. As I said, I'm trying to not have to pull the strings off. Because any of y'all who plays guitar, it can be kind of a pain in the keister to run the strings. There we go. So pretty much this is the original back piece here. So I kind of went through everything, and I'll get it prepped, you know, packaged up to send back momentarily. So we've got that. So we've got pretty much everybody here, and I'm just gonna go through and loosen these strings up a little bit more, just so that I have a little bit more clearance. I just really kind of don't want to have to like refeed everything back through the bridge and everything, because it was a little bit of a pain in the butt getting everybody through. There are a couple other things that I think I'm probably going to do is, I'm thinking I might wind up doing a, like, there's a couple rough edges with the frets, so I might take like a little bit of, and sand them down a little bit, I think, before I get everybody all completely attached back together again. Okay, so now I have everything apart. I actually managed to put the new plate in place, so I got that. So this is the replacement jack that Fretwire sent me, and we've got our wires soldered like here. So I have my solder all ready, and basically wound up sitting there and going through a couple different bits on, to be honest, this is kind of where my inexperience in doing some of this stuff is kind of showing up, because I really kind of don't really know what I'm doing. Because, you know, when you haven't done something before, it's kind of an interesting adventure. Now, basically on here, this is, you've got two tips to solder. This one tip here is going to be the ground, and I'm actually going to heat it up a little bit, because that's actually one of the things I was reading online, is they mention heating up that spot, and then basically pretty much getting a little bit of the solder in place. And then getting the ground wire, which in this case is the black wire, because generally black does mean ground, and one always hopes that we always go through basic electrical stuff, and that's kind of the way we go. I'm gonna this is kind of a task where it would probably help to have like 3 hands on here. And one of the things that I wound up using as a little bit of a reference is Fender, of all places, actually has a bunch of little videos on how to change your jack and stuff like that. So it was kind of like,
so to hold it in place,
kind of an interesting bit.
The wires. Put the soldering iron to the lug here, get it hot.
And they mention,
and apply some of the solder.
and then they pretty much go through and mention what you need to do on this. So this
will prevent me from burning my fingers. So I've already gone ahead and cleaned the soldering iron. I'm going to make sure you have a clean soldering iron. I'm going to go ahead and unsolder both wires from the jack. Be sure to make note of which wire goes where. White is normally hot, which goes to the tip lug, and black is ground, which goes to the sleeve lug. So now that I remove the old jack, put that aside. Go ahead and take my new jack and the 2 lugs on which I'll attach the white and black wires.
So we've got our,
and this one. This is the sleeve where the black wire goes.
so pretty much what I'm doing is I've got the sleeve, which is this guy here that I'm working on. That is the ground on this, so making sure that we have a good bit of ground on this, and I'm basically soldering him in place so that we have everything going. And it's set up, so I've got that in place, and I have my little blob of solder on here, and now I have the other end that I need to get in. This seems to be one of those jobs where it would be a lot easier if one had like about 5 different hands to be able to sit here and fit everything. One of the things I'm trying to make sure that I do is clean off the soldering iron a little bit. Of course, fortunately, I was able to get like the soldering iron and stuff like that for not really a lot of money. I think the kit I found on Amazon was like $20 or $30. It wasn't very expensive at all. So it's definitely worthwhile having. And now I'm basically, what I'm doing is soldering this wire into place, and we'll make sure I got enough on my other bit here. And hopefully that is what's going to work. Everybody seems to be in place. Just want to make sure that that one is nice and solid. I kind of don't 100% like how that one went on, so I'm going to try doing a little bit more. And any of y'all who do this kind of stuff on a regular basis probably laughing at me, because you're probably going, man, Liz, what the heck are you doing? Well, this is kind of what happens when you decide to try something new for the first time. And just to keep everybody in place, I'm just going to go ahead and put these bolts back into place so it doesn't really move too much. And then I'm going to flip this guy around and get the other side. And I'm really hoping that I can get it where everything's up and running, and I can actually sit here and have it playable. Once I have that set up, I'm going to grab someone that, someone I know that can actually play guitar, and that way we can get a little bit of an opinion on it, because that would be a really, 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 really cool thing. I'm doing this bit here where I'm heating up everything. I'm kind of going a little bit backwards on this. So this is kind of one of those interesting bits, let's see how well we can do stuff, and let's see what we can do. I'll sign back in once I get it back to the point where I'm trying to play it, and talk to you all in a bit.